Hi angels. Today's gonna be a little different because I'm in the mood to just read some tarot. So, this is gonna be a message of just like messages that need to come through from spirit teams. So there may be a few different messages. Stick around if you're feeling called or connected, and yeah, there might be a message in here for you, especially if this has come across your For You page or your browse features, I guess. I just wanna see what our teams of light want to say to us at this time. Okay? Let me take my shoes off. You guys know me. I gotta get comfy to read. Okay. Alright, I would like to call in, and if you guys want to say this with me, you guys can call your teams of light in. It usually creates a more potent energetic field between the two of us, and your team of light is more able to come through in the cards, right? So I'd like to call in the teams of light of any and all beings here watching this message at this time to share messages that are most needed to hear right now in this collective. Random signs, random things, yes or no's that might randomly need to come through for certain things, and yeah, any other information that's just like wanted to be communicated. And so it is, and so it is light. And so we begin. Literally that car drove away right as we were praying. Isn't that funny? You saw the light change, right? That was a car. Sorry. Let me put my lip gloss on. I'm gonna give the cards a minute. When I call in teams of light, when I do personal readings, I always let the cards sit and I let the team of light enter energy into the cards before I read. So I'm gonna let the angels just come through. Why is my lip gloss not working? We can just sit for a minute. There's definitely like, I'm getting a throat block immediately. I feel like you're going through something in your throat, to be honest. I love lip gloss. Yeah, there's something in your throat going on. I just got a pain in my left foot too, so, and it's the part of my foot that's connected to your upper back, shoulders area, foundational area. That could be for someone. These might just be clarifiers that there's going to be a message in this for you. Actually, let's see if there's any other clarifiers that the angels want to have come through. I'm seeing white birds, white doves. They're giving me the color red. It's so much, sometimes it's like really hard when my eyes are closed to see things, which is funny because most people like close their eyes to see things. They're showing me ocean waves, but they're showing me more like California waves, not like, it's like the deeper like grays and blues of the California waters. Yeah, I'm seeing like cliff edges. I'm seeing like Northern California as like a location, which is interesting. My left knee is hurting. So someone could have something going on with their left knee. Also, that has to do with your knees tend to be like what holds you. It's also connected to your foundation. Actually, there's a lot of aches coming through in the feminine side, to be completely honest. You could be a divine feminine, or you could be struggling or moving through. I don't really want to say struggling. I feel like moving through replacing patterns in your feminine, in the feminine essence of your life. At this time, that would mean like if you're a feminine, it means like maybe you had issues with your mom, or you didn't have a close relationship, and you're kind of like remothering yourself or standing in place of that, or rewriting the concept of what feminine is for you. If you're a man, it could also be the same with your mom being there, but it's also in foundation to being in your feminine and like allowing yourself to feel, since you men tend to be taught to be super masculine, so softening into that feminine side of yourself, that could be possible. Okay, now I'm ready. There's still a throat block here, Actually, I think we're gonna start with that. If you've been feeling weird in your throat or you're going through something in your throat, let's figure out what's going on with your throat. Okay, our first two cards are the High Priestess and the Four of Cups. In regards to your throat, that's so interesting. I feel like right now what could be happening in your throat is that there's a lot of truth. I'm hearing like hard to swallow. Maybe there's some information or knowledge that you have access to that's a little bit hard to swallow. It may be putting you in a position where you kind of feel like you're looking down, okay? Like the Four of Cups has everything to do with like you're looking down at like what is here and you don't see what's right behind you, like what's about to come into your reality, because you're kind of a little bit too focused on like what's here. And with the High Priestess, she has everything to do with like intuition, knowledge. Maybe there's some kind of like intuitive knowledge literally, or connection that you have where you're like, you already know the truth about some kind of a situation and you're just having a hard time swallowing it. And then so you might be experiencing throat blocks because you may be fighting yourself on it a little bit, is what I'm getting. And it's a bit uncomfortable because, I mean, yeah, of course, sometimes it's hard for us to swallow the truth, right? Sometimes it's a difficult thing. Oh! They all just like tumbled. Okay, we have the Seven of Cups, the Sun, and the Nine of Wands. Okay, so this could be in correlation to what you're moving through, but I also feel like this is a little bit of a different thing that's coming through for you. Here's your cards, sorry. Yeah. I'm getting this energy that there's actually about to be a lot of opportunities on your plate or like right in front of you, and they're going to feel very joyful, you're going to feel very excited. But with the Nine of Wands here, I'm actually getting an energy of stubbornness. Like I'm getting an energy where maybe you're not opening your eyes to all that is awaiting you, okay? So there's a message here for like, this could even be in correlation to that truth that you're not swallowing, right? Maybe that truth that you're having a hard time like sitting with is actually holding you back from being able to sit in what's really in front of you or what's really available. Again, with that Four of Cups, and then I see the Seven of Cups. So it's like you're focused so much on like what's present and that truth that you're trying to swallow but fighting yourself on. Like I'm getting this uncomfortable energy of like fighting yourself on, right? But if you just, when you sit with the truth and turn your head, there's so many options sitting available for you, but there's something about the stubbornness of you letting something go and not wanting to let something go, because I'm feeling like maybe you feel defeat in letting it go, which is uncomfortable. But there's no defeat, okay? I feel like your angels are coming through with this specifically because look, there's another card pulling in. Light. This is coming through because there's some kind of a message here with letting things go. And maybe you have a hard time letting certain things go because it's hard to come to a conclusion that something didn't pan out the exact way that you thought it was going to pan out. They're telling me like sometimes things aren't meant to be X, Y, and Z. Sometimes they're just meant to be X. Okay? So whatever is going on in your reality, whatever is like kind of hard to let go of or to accept the truth of, right? That's kind of hard to swallow. Sometimes it wasn't ever meant to be more than that. Sometimes it is just simply the gift of what it was in that moment, and it's okay to part ways. It's okay to, whew, there's that confirmation and release of energy. Whew. It's okay to move forward and to not be defeated, okay? Like you shouldn't have to feel defeated in that it didn't go on to be something you thought it was going to be, because it probably still, here's what they're saying. They're saying take a look at it from a different perspective and go back to yourself before whatever this was came into your reality. They're saying look at it and like think about intuitively what you thought it was going to be. Okay, now whether this is like a job that you've had or some kind of a person that came into your life, or I don't know, maybe an experience of some sort. I feel like it's like something that you experienced in some way. And look at it from like the beginning and you were like, oh, like this could be so cool. Like, and intuitively you definitely dreamt about it, right? Like you were able to dream about it and be like, what is this possible? How is this gonna be? You know, but like in your body, in your bones, you knew what it was. Like think about that version of you. What did you think it was, right? And feel into what you thought, because that's exactly what happened. Like look back at it and what you felt was likely to happen, whatever depth you felt in this experience. And I know that everyone's has something different on their mind right now, but I'm trying to make it like, I'm trying to speak in a way that encompasses all of you. But just like think about like the depth of how you felt, okay? Like your heart still felt those same depths that you knew you were going to feel in that experience. And so now that you're on the other side of it, you're like, that feeling of like defeat, of stubbornness, of not wanting to turn away is because you think it was supposed to be something more, but that was all just thought. It wasn't what you felt it was going to be, because actually what you felt came to fruition. That feeling, right? It like came to life. And maybe that's all it was meant to be. Maybe you were just meant to tap a new level of depth within yourself in this experience. And that's a success. It's not defeat. It's beautiful that you opened in whatever way you did. It's beautiful that you gave yourself the opportunity to feel and to try new things, no matter where it's brought you. Or I feel like you're actually in a beautiful place right now, to be honest. Like I don't feel like there's no negative cards coming out here. There's just this energy of like a stubbornness to not let go. But I'm almost hearing a message for some of you that it's in the letting go of the thing that isn't quite matching or isn't quite leveling up to your vibration, your frequency. It's in the letting go of that what is truly meant for you can come in. Because there's something about your energy being here and being so focused that you're taking away from yourself by keeping your energy in the direction it's in. I'm just hearing it's time to let go. It's time to let go. Ooh, and that might be hard. But remember, they're also telling me like, when you let something go, if it truly is meant for you, it will find its way back. So just, that's kind of the message that's coming through in this part right now. Actually, that's that full first message. So we're gonna pull these cards back in and look into another message, because for some of you, it's gotta let go. It's time to let go, because there's something better on the horizon for you, okay? Whew. Let me take a sip. All right. Let's see what else. Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Swords. Whoa, that's crazy. Wow. That's 2 8s. 8s could be really significant for you. What I'm feeling initially when I looked at this first card is that you have a season in your business or in your work life that I heard is about to like reap rewards. But then the card came out, the 8 of Swords, which kind of changes the narrative. Maybe you don't see yourself going further right now. I don't think you see your blessings and how much hard work you've really put in to create a ripple effect of what's coming in for you. Because the 8 of Swords has everything to do with like feeling trapped. It has everything to do with like you holding yourself back mentally. Now we just got the 9 of Wands again, which is interesting. Yeah, there's definitely just like a, for some reason, okay, we got the Ace of Wands and the Hermit. So they're slowing me down. Hold on. I'm getting, I just feel like there's this energy of you not seeing your own worth right now. Like there's almost this vibe that like you're still trying to be somewhere other than exactly where you are. Like you feel like you need to be more in some way. And that's like that working so hard and then like feeling like it's not enough, trapped, and then being weary of your own work. Like, look at the way that this guy is looking at the work. Like he's almost like looking down on it, like holding himself to a specific degree of like, do better. You know, like, or you can be more, you can be better. This could be in regards to some kind of creative endeavor that you have where like maybe you're really hard on yourself about it. I'm getting a really hard on yourself vibe, and so it's almost like it's never good enough is the energy I'm feeling, okay? Whew, that's hard. Okay, we have the Ace of Wands and the Hermit. So, you know, I feel like whatever this is for you, it's something that actually is really beautiful. Like, I don't know what it is specifically, but it's some kind of creative endeavor, right? With the Ace of Wands. And then with the Hermit coming through, it's something that you really discovered or crafted through diving into yourself, through illuminating aspects of yourself that you were like exploring at the time. I feel like whatever this is, it's really awesome, and you're just a little bit hard on yourself. Yeah, it's bound to be pretty successful and fulfilling, but there's some kind of a closed energy. The Fool just flipped over. How can we shift through this, angels? How can we move out of this energy? Whew. Okay, we got the Three of Swords. So yeah, definitely heartbreak. Seven of Swords. And then the Two of Pentacles. The Seven of Swords is my card for stealing away from yourself. Like taking away from yourself, okay? For me, I see this card as like everyone's a version of you, and you're literally taking away from yourself. Like, what are you doing to yourself by doing X, right? So if we take this in as a creative endeavor, like you putting yourself down or looking at something like it's not good enough is really only stealing away from yourself. So how can you shift out of that and not steal away from yourself? Because it's putting you in a position of heartbreak. The Two of Pentacles is really significant. It's feeling like the way out is to I want to say shift your balance into a new place where instead of being harsh on whatever this project is, I'm getting fresh eyes because the Fool flipped over too. Like, take it with fresh eyes. Like, allow yourself to look at it from a different perspective. Sometimes that can be really hard when it's your work. So I'm just trying to like put into words and understanding how we can really like shift you out of this in a way that's like really significant and beneficial, right? So let's see what we can get through for like how you can truly shift out of it. I'm hearing do something with it. Bring someone in that has fresh eyes. That's an opportunity for some of you. Or hire someone out to do the part that's causing stress for you. They want me to signify that like even if you're spending money on whatever, like having someone look at it or like do something like that, like maybe with this like project you're trying to like do it all yourself and it's a little bit overwhelming, and you're hitting a point where you're just trying to be so many different people in a project in the creative process that you're being harsh on all the different versions of yourself that did the different things, is what they're kind of showing me. Like, I'm gonna use my book as an example because they keep showing me my book because I'm going through this too right now. But like, for example, I have a poetry book that I'm about to publish, right? And I've been saying that for literally like a year because I've been running into so many blocks, right? And I have done everything for the poetry book, and I didn't want to spend as much money as I did on my first poetry book, and so I've been holding back on hiring people out to do the other parts. And so I was writing the whole entire manuscript, and then I did pay an artist, which costs a good chunk, you know, they do. And at that point I was like, I literally don't want to spend another penny, and so I created so many things for it all on my own, and I'm trying to do the editing, the design work, prep the whole book for launch and prep it in different styles. So it's like, it just feels like a lot, right? And I'm using this as an example. So for me, like trying to be all these different facets or people, like an editor and a designer and an author, right? I'm being mean to the different versions of me. Like, the editor in me looks at the writer in me and is like, that's not written well enough, you know? And so it's almost like I'm critiquing that different version of myself in the process, and that's creating a block because I'm not seeing the artwork as beautiful as it is, you know what I mean? So what I'm getting as a message is like, for me, if the angels were talking to me, they would say, okay, like, you're holding yourself back because you're trying not to spend money on it, but you need to think about money in a different way. You need to think about that money as a return on investment. It's not that you're, like, if I were to pay an editor, which I most likely think I'm probably gonna do because I literally can't touch it right now. But if I were to do that and I was trying not to spend more money, the angels are saying, like, look at it this way. If you are to pay an editor, you're not just paying an editor. You're paying for craft and return on investment. You're paying to move the project forward, and you're paying to remove the stress and the critique that you're creating in your own world, which is that eight of swords, right? Sorry, they're all gonna go flying, right? You're removing this issue where you're entrapping yourself in critique by paying out another person to look at it, by those fresh eyes, by creating more balance. That literally stops you from being so mean to yourself, creating that heartbreak, and stealing away from yourself the opportunity of something that's beautiful. And this is gonna stop you from ruining it, right? It's basically the energy that I'm getting. So I hope that I hope that made sense since I used myself as an example. But yeah, they're just saying, like, you might have the opportunity here to really truly, like, pay out that one little part that's really causing you stress, and you're paying to remove the stress from your vessel and from your project, and that's going to assist you in actually completing it, instead of being all worried and like you might like burn it to the ground if you keep working at it the way that you're working at it, right? That's the energy they're giving me. So if you just find something that's going to release your stress, or even have, sorry, it cut off, but even like having a friend look at it, like fresh eyes, someone that like you trust, and whatever the project is, like it doesn't have to be a book. Let's say you're like an architect and it's a house or something, and there's a part of the house that you can't figure out how to do in a certain way, and you're like, you know, like just outsource, and remember that that's going to craft something that is more abundant and beautiful and returns on investment to you. There's so much release happening right now. Whew, that was a message. Sometimes the tarot readings are really cool because since the angels like use my own memories and experiences and what I'm going through in order for me to understand how to explain it to you guys, I get a lot of messages for myself too that like I never would have seen or like perceived as an option, like just the ways that they bring it through. So these are like such beneficial messages for me too, because it's little tiny things that can be really significant. They're pointing out blue to me right now, and they're saying bluebirds specifically. There's still such a massive throat block here. Wow. They're also showing me pink flowers, like pink hibiscus. Also just pink in general, pink roses, pink daisies, pink tulips. They're showing me pink. So that could be for someone. Okay, let's see what the next message is here. My right foot is cramping. That's the masculine side. They're showing me my dad. Your dad could be significant. You could have a dad on the other side. Or you could have a friend who was a dad. Or you could be in connection to someone who is a dad. Okay? 10 of Cups is the first card coming out. King of Wands. Interesting. Okay, so this is someone that, this literally, did I not just say that they could be a dad? There's 2 kids in here. Freaking crazy. Okay, so this is someone that's really passionate. They could have Leo placements. This masculine. This is someone that's really successful or emotionally fulfilled in their life. They have a lot. They feel very fulfilled. And they feel very passionate as well. The King of Wands is also really attractive. They could be a very attractive person in your eyes. And they have this, like, I want to say charisma. Okay, they have like very strong charisma, or even they're just really good with people. They're very fire sign energy, or they're perceived to be fire sign energy. They could literally be Leo rising, because that's how we perceive people. But they're very, like, it's someone that when you go to a party, like, they do well, and you would never know if they weren't doing well. Like, they would hide it so well. I'm also getting 3 on the Enneagram, which is the performer. They could be some sort of a performer. Ooh, 3s are a whole story. Okay, what about this masculine? Okay, we've got the Hierophant coming out. It's a good card. Keys could be really significant between the 2 of you. And the King of Swords reversed. I'm gonna get a couple more. Page of Wands. Queen of Cups. Whoa. Okay, so this person, either you or this person are spiritually evolved, okay? Or you both are. You guys could be teachers. You could be teachers to each other, especially with the 2 keys. They signified both keys, so you could be keys to one another to higher knowledge, higher... And when I say knowledge, it could even just be like you guys are both people that can learn from each other. Teacher-student vibes. The King of Swords reversed is lack of straightforward energy. The King of Swords upright is very, very straight, very honest, very communicative. They have a heart, but they're way more in their head, and so they speak really clearly. And when it comes out reversed, there's lack of connection. So that kind of makes a lot of sense if they are on the other side, because there would literally be like, maybe you don't know how to communicate with them, or you feel like they're not communicating with you. What I'm hearing actually, because for some of you, it's not someone on the other side, it's just someone that's like in your life. It could be like a literal dad, or it's someone that is a dad. But what I'm hearing is that you don't realize that you're continuously communicating all the time, and they want me to speak from a position as if they are on the other side, as if they're a spiritual body. Okay, I'm hearing, especially with the Hierophant and the King of Swords reversed, I'm hearing that you don't perceive that there's any connection or communication, when in reality there is. So what they're telling me is that you guys are psychically connecting and you don't realize that. You may be feeling them. Here's what I'm hearing. You could randomly get a feeling of like, I'm hearing their arms wrapped around you. Like you can feel their arms wrapped around you, or you get an image, or like maybe in your dream, you literally have a dream of their arms wrapped around you like a hug, right? And that is a psychic connection, is what they're really signifying. And you feel like you're not in communication, but you're psychically bonded, okay? You're psychically connected. And they're also telling me that there are signs and symbols on in between that are giving you information at all times, okay? Especially with the Hierophant. This is a very like spiritual message, spiritual connection, okay? Whoa, and we have the Lovers on the bottom. So this literally could be someone you're interested in. I wasn't gonna go there, but it is possible, okay? Wow. The Lovers and the Chariot are both on the bottom. And the High Priestess, good Lord. Okay, sorry, let me get back to where I was. That just like was crazy. What they're telling me is that they're in the lack of communication in the physical world. They're showing me like spaces on a computer, like on a document when you're typing spaces out. They're showing me like, this is so interesting. They're basically telling me it's gonna make sense later. But what they're showing me is like, when you know when you type out on a document and people do those like drawings where like you do a couple of things and then you space all the way to the other side and then you do a couple of things and then you space, and by the end of the page you see the picture, is what they're giving me. And people do it in the comments all the time. They'll like make little like cats or like whatnot, you know, maybe not in my comments, but I've seen it before over time, right? And so there's some kind of a message here where like it's all of the little things together that are telling you the story, and it doesn't make sense yet, but it's going to make sense. So there's almost a message here of like, it's gonna all add up and you're gonna see a bigger picture, but maybe you just haven't yet. And they're giving me like, if this is someone on the other side for you, then they're saying look at all the different times that they have communicated with you. You might be someone who doesn't know how to communicate with the other side. Maybe you need to learn how to share signs. Basically, you ask them specifically, you can call them in and you can choose a very specific sign between the two of you. It can be something so weird and different than normal things, right? Like, I want to see a purple sweet potato as our thing, right? Like, and if you guys don't live in Hawaii, that's not a normal thing. So it would be every time that would show up, that would be your sign. You'd be like, oh my god, they sent that to me. And then you would start to notice them over time and you would be like, holy shit, like this whole time. I'm actually going to tell you guys a story. This is a part of one of the other books that I'm writing. I'm gonna be honest guys, like I love all of my books, but I have really slowed down on them, and I'm always gonna be saying I'm writing them, but they take years, okay? So just like, it's gonna be a while, because I really like to craft something that feels like a journey, and so those are gonna be a while because I want them to have like that all-encompassing energy where it all like not awkwardly, but like intricately ties together and you're like mind blown, you know? That's my vibe. I like that shit. So those are gonna be a while, but when my best friend crossed over to the other side, I was devastated, right? Like I was not okay, and I wasn't spiritual back then. And I got sponsored to go on this self-esteem trip by one of my very first spiritual teachers. Her name was Eve, which is funny. You know, like later in life when you hit that point where you're like, that actually makes so much sense, and like I never saw that that was like synchronistic. But like my first spiritual teacher's name was Eve. Like, that's so cute and funny. Anyways, I was super devastated, and I remember one night we were sitting out by a hot tub with like everyone from the class, and everyone was hanging out, and I just like wasn't really in myself because I was going through such a traumatic time in my life, like, and so I wasn't sitting in the hot tub. I was sitting over on the edge with Eve, and I don't even remember how we got into the conversation, but she sponsored me because she knew she could help me at that time, and I didn't realize how spiritual she was. She was probably super psychic and like knew that that was something she was meant to do, and I'm sure that my best friend on the other side was like communicating with her, assisting and getting me there. But basically we were sitting on this other side of the hot tub, and she just started talking about her dad, and her dad had crossed over. Actually, this is so funny. This is so synchronistic, the fact that it was her dad that crossed over. Anyways, she literally started talking about her dad, and she was like, when my dad crossed over, I didn't know how to communicate with him either, but he loved repeating numbers. And I was like, that's funny. She was like, yeah, like when he was alive, his thing that he would always point out was repeating numbers, especially more than anywhere else on license plates, like 888 or 777 or 1313 or 999, you know, like it was always like repeating. And she was like, so that was something that I correlated to him. That was his thing. She was like, and right after he crossed, for weeks, I can't remember if it was exactly weeks, but she was like, it was insane. Like every single car I ended up behind had a repeating number. I have chills all over my whole body right now. Every single car. And I was like listening to her say this, and I was like, so he was communicating with you as a spirit. And like, I wasn't spiritual, but I did believe in like spirits, and like, I don't know, this could be significant for someone. This is the craziest shit ever, but like, I read books when I was younger about friends that would die, and I never knew that I was gonna go through that. It was so weird. And I ended up reading, like when I was a kid, I used to read books about spirits and like being on the other side and like talking to us, and it's like I knew all along who I was gonna be. I just didn't put two and two together. You know, it all makes sense later on. But anyways, so she's like talking about this, so I kind of understood the concept of like, oh, you mean like there are spirits on the other side and they can talk to us? And she was like, yes. And so she kept telling me stories about her dad, and she was like, well, like what would your best friends be, you know? And so that was my very first experience of like creating a sign for my best friend to communicate with me through. And he was gay as they come, like so fucking gay. And he and I loved rainbows, both, because I'm queer. If you guys don't know, I've never really like talked about it, but yeah, so our thing together was rainbows. That was our way, like our thing. We were so like proud and like so cute, and so rainbows became my thing for him to communicate with me for. And then like, that's why I always freak out when I post rainbows and shit. That's like what it is, okay? So anyways, what I'm saying is that maybe you need to set a sign with someone, for those of you that do have someone on the other side, and for those of you that this is someone that you're like literally in love with, or you guys are in love with each other and it's unspoken. For those of you that it's a person that's living, and when I say in love with each other, you guys don't have to be in love in that kind of a way. I personally believe in being in love with like everybody, even people who are just like not in a like sensual relationship type of way. So when I say you could be in love with each other, it doesn't have to be in that way. It can just be like being in love with their soul. But just knowing that like you psychically are communicating, okay? Okay, we're gonna go into these next two cards. This turned into a whole thing. I wasn't prepared. Whew. We have the Page of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Okay, so, and then we have these crazy major arcanas on the bottom of the deck. So with the Page of Wands and the Queen of Cups, there is, this person feels, there's some kind of a passionate message that is going to come in towards you. Okay, so this could be, I'm trying to put it in the right words for everyone. For those of you on the other side, this is going to be some kind of a passionate like synchronistic message that finds you from them. And for those of you that this is someone in real life, it's going to be some kind of a really passionate message that comes in, okay? Because pages in tarot are literally messenger cards. It's like a message being sent to you. So if someone had a passionate message, they would write it in a scroll and give it to this page, and the page would deliver it, right? So it doesn't really matter how it's delivered to you, but it is going to be delivered to you. And I'm seeing you're showing up as the Queen of Cups. Okay, so that, for some reason in this reading, that doesn't have anything to do with you being a feminine. Usually it does, but what I'm getting from the Queen of Cups is that you're someone very, very attuned to your heart, and you feel a lot, and you really connect with your heart, and this person makes you feel a lot too. You have a lot of emotions, or just like your heart swells for this person, whether it's like in whatever way it is for you, right? Especially if there's someone that has crossed over, we often, like, the way that our hearts swell for those people is so freaking insane. But yeah, so there's some kind of message coming in towards you. With the Lovers and the Chariot and the High Priestess on the bottom of the deck, I really feel like I'm getting that message again that it's all gonna make sense. Like, it's all gonna make sense soon, okay? There's it's gonna make sense soon. There's time and space being played out in this, and it's very quickly, there's gonna be rapid transformation of understanding spiritually, especially with the High Priestess and the Chariot. It's like the psychic abilities are going to enhance, and instead of just communicating, there's going to be more of like a knowing. There's going to be more of like an inner knowledge between you and this essence, right? This father essence. Okay. That's so cute. Okay, well, that's that message. I feel like that's actually going to be all of the messages that we're bringing through right now. I love you guys. I really hope that this message was significant for you, and if there was anything in this message that resonated with you, I would absolutely love to know. Go ahead and comment it down below, and I will see you guys in the next message.